So hello everyone, welcome here to St. Eustache in Quebec, Canada for round number 4 of the 2015 NASA RallyCross Challenge season. It's the Canadian RallyCross Grand Prix around this very tricky St. Eustache circuit. As it's Josh Mertz bringing you the call for the Automotive Sports Network today, and if you like the seeding round, I regret to inform you that surprisingly, timing and scoring here at the St. Eustache circuit was broken during practice, and the race officials tried to get it fixed for seeding. It's not fixed for seeding. They did get it fixed before the heats here, but there is no seeding round for round number 4. And instead of going by points, because we have a lot of cars today, Dylan Livingood brought out the old rule of randomizing the grid. So we will get to Heat 1 in a moment. But the format for today's race, I said we had a lot of cars. We do compared to the past season and a half. 14 cars today. So we're going to have 3 heats, 1 of 4 and 2 of 5 for 4 laps apiece. You got to take the Joker once. The top 2 will advance. Others move to the LCQ. The LCQ is scheduled to be 8 cars for today's race, battling for 3 laps and Joker once, and only the top 2 get through. The rest are awarded points 9th through 14th. And the final will be 8 drivers for 8 laps around this tricky circuit, and you have to take the Joker twice here at St. Eustache. So let's get right to the action here. As here's Tanner Smith in car number 13. There's Caleb Paul in car number 7. Tanner Smith third in points, but he's 17 behind Josh Mertz. As there's Keith Sherman and Dylan Smith. And here is the grid for Heat 1. It's Tanner Smith in car number 13, Keith Sherman, car number 15, Dylan Smith in car number 3 for Subaru MRT Jr. Big storyline involving him in a moment. And Caleb Paul returns in car number 7. Big storyline involving Dylan Smith. His team owner, Cody Erdman, has retired from NASA Rallycross. We will get to that, but it's lights out and away we go. And off the line, it's going to be Sherman and Paul battling, and Sherman gets the lead off the hole shot, followed by Paul, Dylan Smith, and Tanner Smith. So the championship contender not having a good day so far. Into the dirt for the first time. It's over the water. Now it's Sherman, Paul, Dylan Smith, and Tanner Smith. As Sherman had issues, and it's going to allow Paul to the lead as Dylan Smith will take the fight to car number 15 and pass him as 2 privateers battling. To the Joker on the first lap will be Caleb Paul and Keith Sherman and Tanner Smith, and this will put the new car number 3 for Red Bull Subaru MRT through to the lead as Dylan Smith will lead at the end of lap 1. As like I mentioned, Cody Erdman has announced his retirement from the NASA Rallycross Challenge as the 3rd most winningest driver in the championship. He's going to focus all of his efforts on his Slinger Speedway program. So it looks like Sherman cut the course and he had to slow down and give time up as Tanner Smith sneaks by him. So Cody Erdman, who had a very prosperous career for a driver not to win a championship, had his teammate let go and back at the Subaru ranks, and this remains that we have 7 manufacturer cars here today. And Dylan Smith running for privateers along with Caleb Paul and Keith Sherman, as Tanner Smith's the only manufacturer car in this heat, as Dylan Smith will round the final corner and take 2 laps to go for the ever so dominant Subaru WRX Impreza WRX STI machines, as those cars won 7 of the 10 races last season and finished second in the others. They finished first, second, and first due to Mertz's very hot streak at the beginning of this season. So who knows what will happen today, but the Subaru guys were 1, 2, 3 in practice earlier, so that is a good sign for them. Smith will go to the Joker in car number 3 and see where he will come out in favor of Caleb Paul. There's Tanner Smith in the background. There's Caleb Paul. Let's see what he will do on the merge. It's very slow, and Smith holds it in car number 3. White flag is out here in St. Eustache, and it's going to allow, possibly, Caleb Paul to take it. Smith locks up the brakes and throws the heat victory away. As I'm hearing over the radio, the brake system on car number 3 is potentially going away. That's really strange that's happening already. But Smith is one of the harder drivers on his brakes, so it's kind of unfortunate. So now it's Caleb Paul in the lead, and this is going to allow Tanner Smith to fight Dylan Smith. No relation between the two, but Tanner is in a championship position. 17 points down, no less, but he needs to get into the final via a transfer spot. Will it happen? I don't think so. Paul wins. Smith hits Dylan, and that is going to allow Dylan Smith to get through, as Tanner Smith had to stop and give the position up, as here comes Keith Sherman in car number 15 to round the final corner and finish 4th in heat number 1. We're going to take a look here at what happened between Tanner and Dylan Smith. Remember I said no relation between the two? This is over the jump. Tanner got a much better run. It's a car length there. And he's got to do desperate things. Dylan runs it wide. Tanner sneaks to the inside. Dylan stops pretty much, and Tanner hits him, and that spun him more than 90 degrees. So Tanner had to stop and give the position back to Dylan Smith. As heat number 2 now, getting on track. And I'm not that sick, but I still kind of am, so you might hear a little bit of sniffling, and I apologize, but it's better than what I was last week. Last week, it was a disaster. As here is the field for heat number 2 getting on track. And there's your grid. Mark Sabetka in car number 40 for Great Lakes Motorsports. Arnold Columbia, Josh Mertz, Brandon Nicholson, and Adam Sweet is your grid. 3 manufacturer cars, 2 privateers. Getting ready for this second heat today. Getting ready, revving them up. Launch control is set. 4 laps, and it's lights out, and away we go. And off the line, Sabetka is battling the triple defending champion as he takes the lead off the whole shot, followed by Mertz, Nicholson, Sweet, and Columbia. Sabetka lets Mertz through. No sense battling the triple defending champion when you are a driver returning for the first time since 2012C. Remember that infamous incident he caused in Germany that stacked the whole field up. He got disqualified, and typically when you get disqualified from a NASA RallyCross race, you get suspended for a while. As Sweet lands on Nicholson! And no issue there. Mertz leads to the Joker. He should. No. Sabetka will lead at the end of lap 1. Followed by Mertz. No! Nicholson gets by Mertz in car number 1. So Mertz, a very slow Joker. Sweet landed on Nicholson. Columbia in 5th. So now Nicholson runs it wide. Mertz is going to take the fight to him and sneak through to 2nd. As Sweet landed on Nicholson, like I said twice before, and I don't know how that didn't cause a red flag with Columbia possibly piling in. But it didn't. That's the gap. And Sabetka has to take to the Joker. The Ford program for Great Lakes Motorsports is still being worked on, and the drivers are relatively new, and that will allow Mertz to round the final corner and take the lead on lap number 2. As the triple defending champion, always liking it here at St. Eustache. Now there's 2 Fords, a Mitsubishi, and a Ford. And I think it's going to get good between Sweet and Sabetka for the transfer spot, because Sweet is one of the faster cars here. He may be in a Ford, but I think he's on Bridgestone tires, and MRT's on Bridgestones. The only 4 cars here on Bridgestone tires. And Bridgestone, for the past several seasons, they've had a really soft compound of tire here, and it allows them to be really fast. As over the jump went Mertz, 46.1. As there's laps. He's 1.2 seconds ahead of everybody else. But granted, I think that lap was involving Sweet either going to the Joker or landing on Nicholson. As the white flag is out for car number 1, he's so far ahead I forgot he was leading. Because we were focused on Sabetka and Sweet, because I think this is going to get good. Laps 48.3, 47.3, 1 second difference, and Sweet smells blood. The American who missed the final in Valkenswaard, his only other appearance this season, because of him battling with Tristan Hagenstein, trying to get through to his first final because he missed it in 2012 at Riverside, and that was his only other appearance. Sabetka runs it wide. Sweet is through on Sabetka. Position swap 48.40. Rounding the final corner, we forgot he was leading. An easy heat win for the triple defending champion will give him a further bonus point as Mertz wins heat 2. Sweet trying to hold off Sabetka. Sabetka drives it in. wall riding, and Sweet will make it through to his first final in NASA RallyCross. Sabetka, best of the rest in third. Nicholson fourth. And Sabetka's teammate Arnold Columbia will bring it home in fifth in heat number 2. So let's look at that incident between Sweet and Nicholson that I originally thought was going to throw the heat win away for Sweet, there. So let's see it. Lap number 1. We're going to do slow motion right here. A fourth of the speed. Nicholson gets slow over the jump. And it's a replay of Living Good and Mertz last season. Sweet lands on the rear wing of the 37. Does a great job to save the car as Nicholson had issues. I think that might have broken the wing because he was really slow. And that's Mertz. We saw Mertz have an issue out of the Joker there. That's really strange. As looks like wheel spin on car number 1 is, remember, no traction control. As we had Xander Clements and his traction control scandal 2 years ago that we don't speak of, but I just spoke of it. But anyway, here's the grid, or here are the cars for heat number 3. As the field's getting ready and up to the line here, we will get the graphic up for you. So here we are. The grid for heat number 3. Chris Wetz is in the wrong gate, but he is on pole for heat number 3. Then it's Tristan Hagenstein. Chad Mikos in his private Mitsubishi will be 3rd. Dylan Livingood, quadruple champion, 4th. And Daniel Bellamy will be in the 5th position. So another 5-car heat. Once again, the top 2 advance. This is going to be a tricky heat to determine who will advance, because you've got the Revolution Racing cars, well, one of them, and the junior car, and a Subaru MRT car, and a very fast privateer. It's going to be interesting, as everyone, I believe, getting ready. Launch control being set. 4 laps, 2 cars advance, and it's lights out, and away we go. And off the line, will Livingood get the whole shot? Hagenstein shoots the gap. A very sick Hagenstein wants to get a heat win. I'm already talking about that, but I thought it was a good idea. But anyway, Livingood bumped by Hagenstein. Wetz trying to take the fight to him. Hagenstein was not feeling good doing practice. He spent more time out of the car than in the car. I saw down in his pit gantry, he was downing bottles of water every minute, pretty much. To the Joker, who will go? Hagenstein goes. The Revolution Racing cars do not. Mikos goes. And it looks like Mikos hit Bellamy. And he's being told to stop in the penalty box, but I don't know if he knows where the penalty box is. And I think timing and scoring just accidentally disqualified him. So that will put 4 cars in this heat as Chad Mikos hit Bellamy, and we must have missed it. Well, it's not must have, we did miss it. And I apologize for that. We will get that after the race. Livingood runs it wide. Wetz trying to take the fight to him. Hagenstein has already taken his Joker, and he's already catching up to these 2. That's one thing about this track. If you take your Joker, you can then hot lap and catch everyone who hasn't taken their Joker, and it makes it really easy. It's basically a reverse effect of any other track with a shortcut. Wetz goes to the Joker in car number 71. Hagenstein pushing hard. Livingood will lead at the end of lap number 2 in car number 51. He is second in points and 11 points down on Mertz, as surprisingly, Mertz has tried pulling away, even though Livingood has been on the podium all 3 races. Hagenstein 46.4, Livingood 46.8, Wetz a 50.1, Bellamy 48.3, and it looks like he has stopped, or he had to stop. I think he might have ran it wide. So I think it's all going to come down to the Joker, and I think Hagenstein honestly might have this, because Livingood is not taken to the Joker in car number 51. There he goes. Let's see where the Dutchman will come out, get past the Canadian, I should say. There's Wetz, there's Hagenstein. Hagenstein gets through, and now it's a battle for the transfer spot between the teammates. Because you know Wetz has not had a good season so far in 2015A. He wants to get into the final without having to go through the LCQ. As Bellamy, I think it might have broken something when he got turned by Mikos, because he is way off the pace compared to everybody else. 56-2 for the young American privateer. So if Hagenstein can hang on, I think he might be able to, because the Revolution cars are battling to the death for the transfer spot. It would make 2 MRT cars on the front row. What will Wetz do in relation to his teammate on the outside, trying to get the spot? He hits the wall, he hits his teammate, as the Revolution cars have come together. Where have we seen this before? As Hagenstein will easily win heat number 2. It's going to be Living Good who gets the car in reverse and drive again, who transfers through. Wetz goes to the LCQ in car number 71. And Daniel Bellamy, unfortunately, who never really had a chance in heat number 3, will go to the LCQ, along with Chad Mikos in car number 25. So let's go back and take a look here as to what happened between these two privateers. And it's kind of unfortunate because Bellamy is leading the Privateer Championship. So here it is. Bellamy goes into the corner, Mikos goes into the corner, and Mikos just drills him. And that should have been a trip to the penalty box, but Mikos did not go to the penalty box. Instead, he parked in the Joker, and Timing and Scoring doesn't like when you park in the Joker, so he got DQ'd. So unfortunate for Mikos in car number 25. As a final preparation here, getting ready for the LCQ. As cars are on track, and once they all line up, we will go through the grid. So the grid's coming together now. So here it is. Row 1, Sabetka, Wetz, Sherman, Mikos. Row number 2, Bellamy, Smith, Columbia, Nicholson. So this is a 3-lap race. 8 cars. And you've got a championship contender behind his teammate in the back row of the grid. So if you ever seen Tanner Smith mad, and he's driving fast, you'll see Tanner Smith driving with fire coming out of his ears. Getting ready for the 3-lap LCQ to determine where Mikos and Nicholson are in the final. Revving them up. Getting ready to go for round number 4's LCQ, and it's lights out, and away we go. And off the line, it's going to be Wetz getting the whole shot, followed by Sherman in car number 15. Sherman, Sabetka, Mikos holding everybody up. Then it's Smith getting by him. Bellamy wants to tiptoe by the 25. Nicholson runs it wide. The two privateers battling for the championship are right near each other. Then it's Columbia getting by Nicholson. Through the water, it's Wetz, Sherman, Sabetka, Smith, Mikos, Bellamy, Columbia. Over the jump through the Joker for the first time. Wetz misses it. Sabetka goes. So does Mikos. So does Columbia. So does Nicholson. So half the field goes, half of it doesn't. Rounding the final corner for the first time at the end of lap 1, it's Wetz who leads in car number 71. I think it's going to be a battle between Smith and Sherman for the transfer spot, as Bellamy might have something still broken on his Subaru. These two have yet to go to the Joker. All 3 of them actually have yet to go to the Joker. Look at Smith! He's desperate. He has to make it through to the final. Otherwise, you could write him off in the championship, as I believe nobody has won a championship in NASA Rallycross after missing a final. But correct me if I'm wrong on that fact. Over the jump, Sherman very close to Smith. To the Joker goes Smith. This is going to give him a differing strategy and a better run into the final corner on the final lap. Speaking of that final lap, it's right here. White flag for Wetz. Sherman. Bellamy now 3rd, but he has not taken the Joker. Smith, Sabetka, Columbia, Mikos, Nicholson. As those are the minor points paying positions, it's Chris Wetz holding the lead in the LCQ. As Sherman has not taken to the Joker, nor has Bellamy. Smith has, so he's going to have an easy run around the final corner to sneak the position away from Sherman. Bellamy going to be no contest for Smith in car number 13. Wetz goes to the Joker, so does Sherman. Smith does not, obviously. The top 3 did. Rounding the Jokers, Wetz gets through. Sherman does not! That's the Delta checkered flag! Wetz and Smith. 9th place Sherman. 10th place Sabetka. 11th Bellamy. 12th will be Arnold Columbia, excuse me there. A little bit of a brain fade for me. 12th is Columbia. 13th is Nicholson. And 14th will be Chad Mikos in car number 25. As what an LCQ. And you say that, we're going to have a hell of a race in the final in a few moments. So getting ready for the round of Canada. And here we go. Here's your grid. It's the front row. And for the first time ever, I always make fun of Living Good, but the triple defending champion, no clue what he's doing as he's in the wrong grid spot. It's supposed to be Caleb Paul, Mertz, Hagenstein, Wetz, your front row. And then the back row, Dylan Smith, Adam Sweet, Dylan Livingood, and Tanner Smith. So privateer, manufacturer, 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 privateer, privateer, manufacturer, manufacturer. So the count is 5-3 here in Canada. 8 laps, 8 drivers, 2 jokers. It's Josh Mertz territory pretty much, but who knows what'll happen. Getting ready to go for round number 4 of the 2015 NASA RallyCross Challenge. Who's gonna win it? It's lights out and away we go. Paul jumped to start him a little bit, but he gave it back. Mertz bumps Paul. He bumps his teammate off the track, and Hagenstein is out. As the start of lap number 1, Wetz runs it wide. Mertz through to the lead. Over the water, it's Mertz. Wetz, Paul. Smith bumps Dylan. Smith. Ironically, Livingood, Sweet, Hagenstein. Over the jump for the first time. Who will go where? Mertz will go to the Joker. Wetz does not. Paul does. Smith does not. Dylan Smith does not. Livingood does not. Sweet does. And Hagenstein does, I believe. Mertz looks like he had an issue. Paul sneaks to the inside of him, and these two are battling. Paul runs it wide and has to take it to the pit lane in order to take the fight to car number 1. Wetz, Smith, Dylan Smith. Your podium. Then it's Livingood, Mertz, and Paul. Paul dives it in and nearly makes contact with car number 1. Then Sweet runs it wide, and it's Hagenstein for 7th and 8th. Now Mertz wants to get by Livingood because his championship rival is flying away from him, is in Tanner Smith. As Livingood is confirmed to miss a race later in the season, so we can relatively take him out of the championship hunt. So it's going to be Mertz versus Smith. And Smith is 17 points down on the 1. To the Joker again goes Mertz in car number 1, along with Caleb Paul. Rounding the final corner to begin lap number 3, Wetz, Smith, Dylan Smith, Livingood, Mertz, Paul. As these two, I believe, if the Joker will come right, they will be leading, as they took their Jokers on the first 2 laps. Smith runs it wide, or Paul, excuse me, and hits Mertz. And that should be a penalty for car number 7, and I don't know if there will be one, actually. As now Sweet will take the fight to car number 1 as he runs it wide. And I'm hearing no penalty on car number 7, as it was not more than 90 degrees. So that will make Mertz very happy in car number 1. As the Revolution Racing cars are pulling away, surprisingly, from everybody else, and Dylan Smith in car number 3. And you can tell Mertz is mad. We're focusing on them because this is where the action is. Mertz locks up the brakes in car number 1, trying to get the 4th position. The 5th position, I should say. As lap number 4 now beginning. As Mertz diving it in on Caleb Paul, trying to take the fight to him. Paul runs it wide. Mertz forces him to the curb and makes him spin. He did not touch him, but he made him spin. And what a move by the triple defending champion. As now the top 3 still haven't changed, I think the new battle is going to become Mertz versus Livingood, as Mertz is mad over everyone because he tried to get a good spot and he's not getting it. As lap number 5 now begins for Chris Wetz. That's your lap. 45.8, 45.8, 46.3. As Caleb Paul now battling with Adam Sweet, I believe will be the new battle. 45.5 Mertz in car number 1. This is for the 4th position. And Mertz wants it. He nearly makes contact with Dylan Livengood, and it sends him out wide. I think it intimidated Livengood, and you never can do that. Livengood runs it wide into the water. Mertz did it a little bit better. As these two, Wetz will take to the Joker. Everyone, the top 3 takes to the Joker. As that order will not change. They're so far ahead, I don't think it's going to change anytime soon. As lap number 6 begins, Mertz will battle Livengood for the 4th spot, and this is getting good. As Mertz takes it to the inside on car number 51, he can't make it happen then. As I think Livengood still has a Joker left. This is compromising Mertz's race, because he already had a half spin. He already had a half spin in the Joker, and he's being held up by his friend and rival as he tries to take the fight to Livengood. Will he take it in the double apex? He can't make it happen. As this is frustrating Mertz in car number 1, as he finally gets by Livengood in car number 51, but I think the time might be running out to get a podium. Wetz went to the Joker again. There's absolutely no change in the top 3, so that's why we've been focusing on the 4th and 5th place battles. Now this is getting good. Paul bumps Livengood. As lap number 7 begins, Mertz has gotten through. He ran a 47-1 the last lap. Livengood, Sweet, and Paul. Paul smashes into Sweet, and that will definitely be a trip to the penalty box for car number 7. As he does not stop in the penalty box, as Caleb Paul racking up a bunch of issues with all the drivers today. And that's the gap. You might be able to see Mertz if the camera switches for Dylan Smith. No, you can't. Top 3 are out and away from the rest of the field. It's Mertz, Livengood, Hagenstein 6th, Paul, and then Adam Sweet. But this is the battle for the white flag in Canada, and we've forgotten all about the podium because they haven't changed since the lights went out. It might be a battle for second. What? Wow, 155, fastest lap all weekend, Josh Mertz. You can tell he's mad. But anyway, his junior driver, who for the 3rd time or 4th time, I believe, returns to Subaru MRT, trying to take the fight to 3rd in points, Tanner Smith. With Livengood behind Mertz, this will not affect the championship at all. It will shrink the gap for Smith by 3 points, but that really doesn't matter because 14 points is still a huge gap. Rounding the final corner, it's a surprise 1-2 finish for Revolution Racing as Chris Wetz will win, followed by Smith in 2nd, Dylan Smith 3rd. Mertz very angry, finishing 4th, his worst finish so far this season. 5th place, Dylan Livengood. 6th place, Tristan Hagenstein. 7th place, Caleb Paul. And 8th place will be Adam Sweet in car number 48, as it looks like he's just going to park the car. As there he is, your winner today, his 10th career win and 3rd overall, breaks the tie with Cody Erdman, as Chris Wetz is your victor here in Canada. As here are your official results for today's race. It's Chris Wetz winning, 20 points to him. Tanner Smith 2nd with 17. Dylan Smith 3rd with 15, so car number 3, position number 3. Mertz finishes 4th with 14 points. Livengood 5th, 12. Hagenstein 6th with 12, as Mertz and Hagenstein both won their heats. So did Paul. Paul actually got shuffled to 8th place because he did not go to the penalty box, so he essentially got thrown to the back in the final. Sweet 7th, Paul 8th, Sherman 9th, Sabetka 10th. 11th place, Daniel Bellamy. 12th, Nicholson. 13th, Arnold Columbia. And 14th is Chad Mikos. The top 10 in the Drivers' Championship after 4 rounds, and it's still, he actually gained 2 points on Dylan Livengood. Mertz 73, Livengood 60, Smith 59. So the battle between those two are tightening up, but like I said, Livengood's confirmed. I don't know which round it is, but he is confirmed to miss a race later in this championship. So this is going to make it really hard for Tanner Smith, as those two have been battling like Livengood's a full season entry. Dylan Smith moves to 4th in points with 52. Tristan Hagenstein gets passed by his new teammate with 48. Chris Wetz bumps up to 6th with 48 points because of his win. Bellamy 42. Nicholson 30. Adam Sweet with 20 points. And Cody Erdman 10th place, but he has not run since Croft. And there is no plans for the runner-up from last season to run, as he is officially retired in NASA RallyCross. The Constructors' Championship after 4 rounds, it tightened up a lot. They had a 12-point lead over Revolution Racing. That has that's gone down to 8. Subaru MRT 127, Revolution Racing 119, Revolution Junior 81, Area 52 68 points, but they didn't have a car today. Great Lakes Motorsports 38 because of Columbia and Sabetka. The Manufacturers' Championship tightening up. 74 for Subaru, 71 for Mitsubishi. Volkswagen did not have a car, but they have 38 points. And Ford has 15 points in 4th. So that was the 4th round of the championship here in Quebec, Canada. And next week, we're going to return to a track where we haven't been since, I believe, 2012C. And that was right before the traction control controversy of 2013A. But who knows, up in Lakewood, Colorado at the NASA Proving Ground South Course. We'll see you next week, but until then, so long, everyone.